Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today's lesson is about factorization. In this video, I'll introduce the common factor, solve a few problems, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you all the common topics under factorization, meaning different ways in which you'll be expected to factorize 5 different ways. So, what is factorization? If you're given y, 2y plus 5, you know that to distribute this, you'll just say y multiplied by 2y, which is 2y squared, and y multiplied by 5, which is plus 5y. Now, to factorize means that we want to do the opposite of expanding or distributing. We want to go from here to there to make things a bit easier for us. So, in terms of factorizing this, we'll just say y, take out the highest common factor, we'll be left with 2y plus 5. If you don't understand what I just said, that's okay. The whole point of today's lesson is to teach you how to do this, and I'll also write down the steps for you guys. Now let's move to the first example. Number 1, 5x squared minus 10x. Okay, so the first step in terms of factorizing would be to find the HCF. Step 1, find HCF. Okay, so you start with your values. By your values, I mean the numbers 5 and 10. Okay, which number can go into 5 and 10 without leaving a remainder? Meaning, which number can you divide 5 and 10 with that will give you a whole number? There are different numbers. There's 1, 5 divided by 1 doesn't leave a remainder, and 10 divided by 1 doesn't leave a remainder. 5 divided by 2 doesn't leave a remainder, and 10 divided by 2 doesn't leave a remainder. And lastly, 5 divided by 5 doesn't leave a remainder, and 5 divided by 10 doesn't leave a remainder. Those are your common factors. However, you want to choose the biggest number that can be divided into both 5 and 10. That is your highest common factor. In this case, the biggest number is 5. Okay? So, step 2 would be to find common variables. Find common variables. The variables are basically the letters. Now, the first term has x squared and the second one has x. They both have x in common. So, to solve this, you want to choose the variable that has the smallest power. You have x squared here and x. Which one is smaller? X. So, it's 5x. Then you open a bracket. Step 3 would be to divide each term by the highest common factor. Step 2, find common variable. Step 3, divide each term. Divide each term. That's okay. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. You don't have to write down that 1. It's the same thing as when you have your x here. You know that this x has an invisible 1, right? You guys don't really write it. So in factorization, when you have x or a variable or anything, it usually has an invisible coefficient. However, there's no need to write it. Now let's move to the variable. You have x squared and x. So how do we solve this? We'll basically say 2 minus 1. I'm talking about the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you can write this as x. Then you move to the second term. Negative 10 divided by 5 is minus 2. Make sure that you always include your sign. Then let's move to the variable. X to the power 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So there's nothing left. Your final answer is 5x, open bracket, x minus 2. Now let's do a few more examples until you guys get the hang of this. Number 2, 12x squared minus 8x. What's the first step? You find the HCF. 12 and 8. Which number can go into 12 and 8 without leaving a remainder? Meaning the HCF. It's 4. Then let's move to the variable. Step 2 says find common variables. X squared and x. X is common as this x here and x there. So what's the variable that has the smallest power? It's x. So 4x, open a bracket. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3, then 2 minus 1 is 1. So 3x. Negative 8 divided by 4 is 2 minus 2. Negative 8 divided by 4 is 2. Let's move to our variable x and x. 1 minus 1 is 0, so there's nothing. That is your final answer. Let's move to the third example. 15x cubed minus 5x squared. What's the first step? You find the HCF. Which number can go into 5 and 15 without leaving a remainder? The biggest one. It's 5. You can always verify with a calculator. So 5, x cubed and x squared. Which variable has the smallest power? It's x squared. So you write your x squared here, open a bracket, then 15 divided by 5 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you write this as x. Now negative 5 divided by 5 is minus. You don't have to write down your 1. Let's move to the variables x squared and x squared. 2 minus 2 is 0, so there's nothing left. We said that negative 5 divided by 5 is 1, right? Now you're allowed to write down your 1 as there's no other variable. And let's move to the fourth example. Number 4. 18x to the power 4 minus 12x cubed. What's the first step here? Step 1, find the highest common factor. Which number can go into 18 and 12 without leaving a remainder? You can try different variations. Just make sure that they always that they can both go into that certain number can go into 18 and 12, excuse me. So your answer should be 6. 6 x to the power 4 and x to the power 3. Which variable has the smallest power? It's x cubed. So x cubed, open your bracket, 16 divided by x is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1, so you write down your x. Negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. Let's move to our variables. We have x cubed and x cubed. 3 minus 3 is 0, so there's nothing. That is your final answer. Let's move to number 5. 24x cubed minus 36x. Now let's solve this. Which number can go into 24 and 36 without leaving a remainder? It's 12. Now let's move to our variable. You have x cubed and x. Which variable has the smallest power? X. So you write down your x, open bracket. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 2. X cubed and x. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this is x squared. Now we move to the second term. Negative 36 divided by 12 is 3. Negative 3. Don't forget your sign. Now x and x, 1 minus 1 is 0. You have nothing left, so that is your final answer. Now let's move to number 6. 14x to the power 4 minus 7x squared. What's the first step? Find the highest common factor. Which number can go into 14 and 17 without leaving a remainder? It's 7. So 7, x to the power 4 and x squared. Which variable has the smallest power? It's x squared. X squared, open a bracket. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 2, let's go to the variables. 4 minus 2 is 2. So this becomes x squared. Negative 7 divided by 7 is minus. Let's not write down our 1 yet. Let's move to the variable. X squared and x squared. 2 minus 2 is 1. There's nothing left, so you can write this as 1. Let's move to number 7. 12x squared y squared minus 18xy. Okay, what's the first step? You find the highest common factor. 12 and 18. Which number can go into 12 and 18 without leaving a remainder? It's 6. So you write down your 6. Step 2, we find the common variables. Let's go to our variables. xy, xy. These terms both have x, y, and xy in common. So you write down the variable with the least power, the smallest power. So x squared and x, which one is smaller? X. Y squared and y, which one is smaller? Y. Open a bracket. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So you write down your 2. X squared and x, 2 minus 1 is 1. So just write 1. Then y squared, 2 minus 1 is also 1. So xy. Negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3. Let's move to our variables, x and x. 1 minus 1 is 0, so there's nothing. Y and y. 1 and 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So your final answer is 6xy, 2x minus 3. Let's move to number 8. 9x cubed y squared minus 27x squared y. What's the first step? Find the highest common factor. 9 and 27. Which number can go into 9 and 27 without leaving a remainder? The biggest number. It's 9. Now let's move to the variables. You have x cubed, y squared, x squared, and y. These terms both have x and y in common. So we can start with x. Between x squared and between x cubed and x squared, which one is bigger? Which one is smaller, excuse me? It's x squared. Y squared and y, which one is smaller? Y. Open a bracket. 9 divided by 9 is 1. You don't have to write down that 1. Now let's move to our variables. X cubed and x squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you can just write down your x. Y squared and y. 2 minus 1 is 1. So xy. Let's move to the second term. Negative 27 divided by 9 is negative 3. Negative 3. Let's move to our variables, x cubed and x cubed. 2 minus 2 is 0, so we have nothing. Y and y. 1 minus 1 is 0, so we have nothing. Therefore, your final answer is 9x squared y, xy minus 3. 20x squared, 20x cubed, y squared, z squared, minus 10xy cubed, z. So how do we solve this? Step 1, find the HCF. 20 and 10, which number can go into 20 and 10 without leaving a remainder? This one is pretty obvious. You have 10. Now let's move to the variables. You have x cubed and x, y squared and y cubed, z squared and z. These terms both have x, y, and z in common. So we write down the variable with the smallest power. X cubed and x, which one is smaller? X. Y squared and y cubed, which one is smaller? Y squared. Z squared and z, which one is smaller? Z. Now let's open a bracket. 20 divided by 10 is 2. 2. X cubed and x. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this becomes x squared. Y squared and y squared. 2 minus 2 is 0. So we have nothing here. Now let's go to our z. Z squared and z. 2 minus 1 is 0. So, 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have z here. Then negative 10 divided by 10 is minus 1. Let's just write down our minus. Now let's move to our variables. X to the power 1 and x. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we have nothing there. Y cubed and y squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So we have y. Now z and z. 1 minus 1 is 0. So your answer is 10xy squared z, 2x squared z minus y. That is a factorized answer. Let's do 3 more. Number 10, 30x to the power 4 y cubed minus 15x squared y squared w cubed. What's the first step? First step is to find the highest common factor. Which number can go into 13 and 15 without leaving a remainder? It's 15. So 15, let's move to the variables. 15, we have x to the power 4 y cubed. We have x squared y cubed and w to the power 3. So these terms have x and y in common. Definitely not w as it appears once. So we choose the common variables with the least power. X to the power 4 and x squared, which one is smaller? X squared. Y cubed and y squared, which one is smaller? Y squared. Open a bracket. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2. X to the power 4 and x squared. 4 minus 2 is 2. So this becomes x squared. Y to the power 3 and y squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you have 1 there. Let's move to the second term. Negative 15 divided by 15 is minus 1. So write down your minus. X squared and x squared. 2 minus 2 is 0. So you have nothing there. Y squared and y squared. 2 minus 2 is 0. So you have nothing there. W cubed. So W cubed. Your final answer is 15x squared y squared 2x squared 2x squared y minus W cubed. And let's do the last example. The last example, 48a cubed b squared c to the power 4 d minus 36a squared b cubed c squared d squared plus 60ab 2ab squared c cubed d. What's the first step? Step 1, you find the HCF. Which number can go into 48, 36, and 60 without leaving a remainder? It's 12. So you write down your 12. Now let's move to the variables. A squared, b squared, c to the power 4, and d. So we have a, b, c, d in the first term. Let's check the second term. We have a, b, c, d. Then we have a, b, c, d. So all the terms have a, b, c, d in common. Now let's choose the variables with the least power. A cubed, b squared, and a. Which one is smaller? A. B squared, b cubed, and b squared. Which one is smaller? B squared. C to the power 4, c cubed, and c to the power 4, c squared, and c cubed. Which one is smaller? C cubed. Then d squared, and d. Which one is smaller? D. Let's open a bracket. 48 divided by 12 is 4. Let's go to our variables. 3 minus 1, a cubed, and a. 3 minus 1 is 2. So a squared. B cubed and b cubed. 2 minus 1 is 0. So we have nothing there. Let's move to c. C to the power 4 and c squared. 4 minus 2 is 2. So c squared. D and d. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we have nothing there. Negative 36 divided by 12 is minus 3. A squared and a. 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have a there. B cubed and b squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So b. C squared and c squared. 2 minus 2 is 0. So you have nothing there. Then d squared and d. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you have d. Then we go to the last term. 60 divided by 12 is 5. Plus 5. A and a. 1 minus 1 is 0. So you have nothing there. B squared and b squared. 2 minus 2 is 0. So you have nothing there. C cubed and c squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you have c. Then d and d. 1 minus 1 is 0. So you have nothing there. Your final answer is this one. Now I told you guys that there are 5 different ways in which we factorize. Now let's outline them. Number 1, you'll be expected to find the common factor. We've already done that in this video, so make sure that you practice this after. Number 2, common bracket. This one is a bit similar to the common factor. Number 3, difference of 2 squares. Number 4, trinomials. Number 5, grouping. And then lastly, in this series, we'll also do exam questions under topics relating to factorization. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next common bracket video.